So when the Civil War started, the first Civil War, you're about 13 years old,
Yes,
is that
sir.
right? You're in school
Yes, yes.
that day.
Yes, yes.
You got up that morning, a normal day,
Yes, sir.
to go to school.
Yes, sir.
Then what happens?
We heard a firing sound. People started firing in the city. So every one of us, including the teachers, the students, ran outside. They killed a good number of them. I hear people say that if you are Christians, then you will not struggle. That is really not true. And I can still remember his voice very clearly, that if you don't know Christ and you died in the struggle, you're going to die 2 times. Because you will die now, you will die tomorrow.
Welcome to Culture Shift. Today, we're going to talk about a story of an individual's life and how God can take somebody from the most difficult of circumstances and cause them to influence many people around the world. We are in the country of Liberia today, in the city of Monrovia. And our guest today is Tailey Garley, who is president of Light Academy, which is a school for students K through 12, and then also the president of a university that he has begun here. He's also pastor of a church here in Monrovia. And this is going to be such an amazing story. I want you to get ready to listen. I want you to share this because you're going to hear things that you have never heard before. And Tailey, we are honored to have you here today and to talk about the story of your life.
Thank you, sir.
Tailey, I want to bring some context about your life because most people may not know that this country of Liberia has been through multiple years called Civil War. Let's talk about that for a moment, because you were growing up here during one of the most difficult times in this country. Talk to us for a minute about your childhood and what that was like.
So, thank you very much. So the first thing is, I grew up in a family where my father had 3 wives, and then with about 15 siblings. And we all were in the same house, grew up together. We saw life very, very difficult, especially a family that does not have the economic power, but yet still have to cater for more than 15 children. And very surprisingly, as at the time we said 15, but not a recent time, my older sisters began to tell me that my dad also had 2 more children that we didn't know about, so that took them a lot to 17. Right, but we grew up in the house of about 15 children, but we all used to eat in the same bowl. We eat in the same bowl, eat in the same house. And like something I didn't mention, when we are eating, that's my childhood upbringing. When we are eating, when you just leave and you want to go and do something, when you come back, forget it. There's no food there for you to get. All right, then that is kind of situation.
So there's very little money
Yes.
and there's very little food.
Yes, yes.
Are you all sleeping in the same room?
Yes, not in the same room. Some in the other room, some in the living room. And there was a little bus cutter somewhere in the yard. Honestly, in there. Yeah.
Are you eating once a day, twice a day?
No, it's once a day.
Once a day.
It's once a day. Yeah, once a day. If you eat twice a day, then it's by mistake. Yeah, it's once a day.
Okay. And is it rice? Is it?
Yeah, it's rice.
That's it?
Yes, rice. Yeah. And so that had been our upbringing even before the civil crisis. All right. So we really have it even difficult before the civil crisis. So 1990, the civil crisis began.
So how does that happen? Why does Liberia go into civil war?
So like I said from the beginning, the president at the time, it was Samuel Kayando. So Samuel Doe was in the military, all right? And they overthrew Tobo, who was the then president. Now Tobo was an American-Liberian. An American-Liberian people, Black Americans who live in the U.S., came to Liberia and settled. So they are the one that have been ruling the country from Joseph J. Rawo time all the way to Tobo time. So the indigenous Liberians were not happy. They were not happy with the ruling. So they've been finding a way to overthrow so that we can move, so that indigenous Liberians who were on the ground can begin the leadership of the country. So Samuel Doe and his friends, they killed Tobo. Now when they killed Tobo, they also started killing some of the American-Liberians who were in power at that time.
So those American-Liberians had been to America, right?
They were born in America.
They were born in America.
They lived in America, they schooled in America.
And they came back to
Liberia, yes. So they were ruling the country. All right, so we call them American-Liberians. Sometimes we call them Congo also. You always get a regular Liberian say Congo people.
Okay.
All right, so they were there. So Samuel Kayando and his friends overthrew Tobo. That was the end of the American-Liberian rulership and brought in indigenous Liberians. When indigenous Liberians took over, some of the American-Liberians who were having top government positions, they killed a good number of them. You get the point? The American-Liberians, when they took over, they in fact, if we go to the museum, you get the whole history. They placed them on the firing squad and killed some of them. So the American-Liberians, they have that in their mind. That includes Charles Taylor. So like Charles Taylor and the rest of them went to the U.S. and then they mobilized themselves and came back. So when they came back to destabilize the country to remove Samuel Doe.
Tilly, I just want to help individuals who are not from Liberia understand the reason for the Civil War. I know that there was an overthrow of the president, but why? Why did this Civil War happen?
Okay, so what really happened is that the American-Liberians were in power for the time the country began. The indigenous Liberians felt that they were cheated, they were not treated well, and they wanted to remove the American-Liberians to take power. So they did that, and it's happened successfully. So the indigenous Liberians stayed in power for like 10 years, and the American-Liberians, like Charles Taylor, came back to revenge. That is how the whole war escalated.
And the second Civil War started.
The second Civil War started at the time when Charles Taylor was the president, and then Prince Johnson, who was the rebel faction for the Crown Ethnic Group. The Crown Ethnic Group is the group that produced the first indigenous president. So Charles Taylor requested the arrest of Prince Johnson on Camp Johnson Road, and Prince Johnson refused the arrest because he also has his own men that were guarding him. So the both of them entered into fight, and the second war started. Okay. And what prolonged the war is because it became trouble. Later on now, it left from just an American-Liberians, and now it went to tribal war. So tribal fighting against tribe.
And eventually the tribes are fighting against each other.
Yeah. So when it came by 1990, they captured Samuel Doe, and then the fighting started. So I was in school at the time. I went to school in the morning. Then they started firing all in the city. There was absolutely no way that you could connect with anybody, because we wake up in the morning with a firing sound. My dad also and my mom, all the people ran up. I too for school. I cannot come back to them because the whole city was on fire, people shooting everywhere. And I joined another family. I joined some friends and family, and we all came back to Ivory Coast.
So your You don't know where your parents are.
No. At the time, I didn't know. And there's absolutely no way for me to know because when the fire started, day to ran, and you are hearing gun sound on the left, on the right, there is no way for you to even say you're coming back. So what I did, I joined the other family. We all started running. And we're running to a nearby country, which is Ivory Coast, that share border with us. So we had to leave, go to the different villages, because Zedru, my hometown now, Zedru is not far from the Ivory Coast. So we had to run and go to the border and cross. So I lost contact with my family right there with parents. I lost also contact, and the good thing about it is I also lost contact with siblings because my siblings also went their own way. Some went to Guinea. I didn't mention that the first time, but some went to Guinea.
How old were you at this time?
At that time, I was about 13 years.
13 years old.
Yeah.
So you don't have a family anymore.
No,
You don't know where they are.
no.
How are you surviving? How are you living?
So when we went to Ivory Coast, we met the Ivorians. So the Ivorians also saw that as an opportunity. They saw our going to Ivory Coast as an opportunity because we could be the one laboring for them. So when I went to Ivory Coast, one of those Ivorians took us in. They didn't take us in with good faith. They took us in so that we can be doing the labor work for them. So in the morning, they would take us on the farm. We'll go to the farm, we will weed grass, we will plant rice, we will brush, and then we'll clear the podcast tree, the cut palm. We will literally do all the physical work. So that's where we are from 1990, 91, 92, 93. Then the HADRA, the relief agency, they want to build the refugee camps and took on them. So at that time now, Liberians who were with their friends were all moving to the refugee camp because there was this organization called HADRA that was building the refugee tent for Liberia.
When you went to the Ivory Coast
Yes.
and were with this group of people,
Yeah.
that sounds like slavery.
Definitely. That's why I say it was an opportunity. Because when we went there, they took us in, and then it was serious labor work. Take much at the age of 30. We would go on the farm, and then we would broach, we would plant rice, we would plant, we'll do plantation, we'll clean up the pantry, cut palm, and the rest of that. You come back home, you wash all the clothes in the house for everybody, you sweep the entire house, then you go to the market again, you will come back, and then you will like have to cook in the house, and so it was like the war was an opportunity for them that they saw country to work for them. And that was really, really difficult. Someday you walk all through the day and you don't eat anything good. You literally go to bed hungry. And that's the life we're living. So 1991, 92, around 93, then they built the refugee camp. They had the organization I'm talking about, the refugee agency, let me say. They built a refugee camp and then they moved us to a camp called the Build 10. So in the process of time, Red Cross has a way of connecting parents and children. So they took our names who went and saw our parents. They took our names and they were announcing the names. Yeah, and then that's how my mom got to know that I was on the refugee camp. Because she too was in Ivory Coast. But she didn't know that both of us was in Ivory Coast. She was in different city in Ivory Coast. So that is how she got to know that I was there and I connected to her. Now when I connected to my mom, then I not seen my dad yet. For our dad, we never knew I was sick. So only my mom at the time. So when I connected with my mom, it was okay emotionally, but it was almost like the same thing because I was fetching for my mom at that time. And my other sibling, I was fetching for her. We would go to sell, we would sell on the street, do some labor work for people. They give money, it's little money. They would come back home and get my mom would cook, and they would get food to eat. I was selling carrots, like I mentioned. One time I went to sell, and I saw egg on the road. Literally on the top part, the yellow part was showing. I had to get down to eat the egg. I mean, we literally ate on the ground, literally did all manner of stuff. And like I mentioned before, the refugee school we're attending, the school I was attending, I had just one transfer. I wore that transfer for a very long time.
Right, but those weren't male clothes. It was your sister's clothes.
Yes, I must have clothes. The transfer have zipper on it, and it's a female transfer. But that's what I have to wear. Up to now, even our church in Liberia know that story. I don't stop talking that story. Most time I can explain that story. Sometimes I want to encourage people in the church. But just imagine if I explain my story to an American feel sad about a story. It makes sense. But even my fellow Liberians, when I explain the story, they cry when they hear my story. Because my story is we live a very, 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 very difficult life. And then when I was in the Ivory Coast, if I learn how to even face soap that you face and you cream with, I learned to face soap. I learned so many things in the Ivory Coast just to make sure my little siblings who were with my mother time plus myself have food to eat. So the only good thing about it at the time is there was a refugee school, and then we were going to that school. At the school, they used to also provide meals. So that was one thing that we were always looking forward to going to school. Because we go to school, you stay online, they bring meal, you eat, and then you go home. So when I got to 12th grade, I felt like I needed to come back to Liberia to graduate so that I could have the high school certificate for the country. So then 97, I came back to Monrovia. 97, 98, 99 when I graduated. Then the Second War began. So your question then, well, how did the Second War begin? Charles Taylor was the president at that time. And Prince Johnson, because there are two Prince Johnson. We had a Prince Johnson from the other opposition side. Then the Prince Johnson from my tribe. He was a rebel leader from my tribe. So Prince Johnson was on the Camp Johnson rule. Charles Taylor wanted to capture Prince Johnson. They want to capture Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson forces refused for him to be captured. That was September. The September 18th or September something was September. And then right away, and I was living with my uncle right opposite Prince Johnson. So right away, I saw my eyes on that street. Wow, 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 they started firing each other. The whole city, 10 hectares scattered. People started running.
And it just explodes again.
Yes,
People started, because you said there were multiple tribes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're fighting each other again.
Yeah. People started running, firing. That. So my young brother was like an uncle to me who all started running, going to Ganta. Ganta is somewhere that if you are from a tribe at that time, during the war, you got from a tribe, from the Cram tribe, you don't want to go to Ganta. Because Ganta, the tribe in Ganta was the major tribe that was really fighting us. Was the major tribe. The tribe in Ganta, their rebel leader was the one that actually slaughtered Do. So they never wanted to see us. So just imagine we have to pass through Ganta to go to Suadru. So when we arrived to Ganta that night, there was a man there who took us in. And then in Ganta, in the city, they said, oh, some Crown people came here last night. Some Crown people, I can still remember that whole story very well. They said some Crown people came here last night. We have to go for them. And when they go for you, they will bring you outside and slaughter you outside.
They would shoot you or
They would bring
machete you.
Yeah, they would. When they shoot you, then you are lucky. Because when they shoot you, then you die one time. No, those most time they don't want to shoot you, they will cut you. Yeah, they'll cut you. They want you to feel yourself die. So they came and surrounded that house in Kanta. And then they said, so Crown people in here. So that is how the men that lodged in culture using. They had the men came outside and said, no, these are not Crown people. These are my children friends. They are from this place. They all went to school together. They war broke out and they came to me. They are my children. It's an old man. I'm not sure she's alive now. So that's how they left. When they left, they did not break around at 2, 3 in the morning. He escorted us. And they will let him contact again and then went to swim through and cross back to the Ivory Coast and went to the refugee camp.
So when this Civil War happens, you're going from here to the Ivory Coast, and then you end up in Ghana because you didn't know the Lord. You had no relationship with God. Your mom had taken you to church. But you really weren't interested.
Yes.
What happens in Ghana?
So actually, I got saved, like I said, in the Ivory Coast.
Ah.
I received call into ministry in Ghana. So Ivory Coast, I was our minister to by the Assembly of God pastor. He named Pastor Doe.
Is this a one-on-one encounter with?
Yes, yes, yes. One-on-one encounter. I can still remember uh he came to our house that day to where we used to go in the farm to brush, did brush and come back. He too was struggling too. He was also struggling. So he came to me and sat down and ministered to me. And I can still remember his voice very clearly that if you don't know Christ and you died in the struggle, you're going to die 2 times. Because you will die now and you'll die tomorrow. But when you know Christ, if you die now, you will live tomorrow. And then I remember he asked me to want to the same, and I said yes. I said that will help me, yes. He led me to Christ.
And then everything changes then for you. And that is when your life becomes aware spiritually, and you begin to depend on Jesus.
Yes, definitely. But then he was the one who baptized me. Then I said, yeah, he baptized me. Then I started going to the church and then working in the church. I became Sunday school teacher in the church. I became Christ ambassador president in the church. And then, and trust me, he was very glad that he did that. Yeah. So I was in the articles, and then the language barrier, French, and the cultural barrier, because the language is different. So I chose to move to Ghana. I went with the refugee cast to Ghana. So when I got to Ghana, I was in Ghana. Like I said, I got called in Ghana. I got ordained in Ghana. I was working with a pastor in Ghana. And then Bishop Lou Jones, I was also preaching on the bus. I was doing bus preaching, BUS. I was doing bus preaching, doing street preaching all in Ghana. And then when Bishop Lou Jones came with a conference in Ghana.
Are you living in a refugee camp right now, still in Ghana?
Yeah.
So I want people to understand, because as Americans, we see things on the news. We see a refugee camp. Can you be specific and detailed about what life was like in a refugee camp? Because how old are you now?
So I live in 2 refugee camps.
Yes, okay.
First refugee camp in Ivory Coast. Second refugee camp in Ghana.
Neither one, the Ivory Coast, you still were by yourself, right? Your
Yes.
family wasn't there, right?
Yes.
What's life like in these refugee camps?
Oh, it was very, very difficult. Practically difficult. Most of the time, refugee camp, life was very tough. You had to fetch for yourself. You have to practically go to the nearby residence where work. You do labor work, and then you find little thing, because people need to understand nobody is paying you because of the work you are doing. So it's not that you're working and they pay you, but they know that you're working so that you can have food to eat. So you go to the nearby town in Ghana for the refugee camp. You go to the citizens, and then you work. You go to sell for them. You sell for them. You come back. You go on the farm for them. You do some work. You come back and they find little thing for you, and then you find food to eat. That was the regular life in the refugee camp. If you are lucky, because at that time, most Liberians have gone to the U.S. They gone to the U.S. based on the refugee program. So if you were lucky to have had a family in the U.S., then they send you money. But for some of us who don't have anybody in the U.S., you will practically have to work for yourself. You do have to do a lot of difficult work and get little thing to eat for the day. So that was the kind of life we lived in the camp.
So there's very little food.
Yeah. Oh, no food.
What about sickness and disease?
So there were a lot of sickness and diseases. There were a lot of sickness. You see people die practically, especially in the Ivory Coast refugee camp. Yes. Ghana refugee camp was a little bit better, a little bit. The reason we did a little bit because at that time, a lot of Liberia was taken by the Americans on resettlement in the U.S. So they started working and sending money for that family. Unlike the refugee camp in Africa. In Africa, almost everybody was suffering. You see people die from diseases. All right. When you see the Mark Ivey, this Mark almost to kill me. I got this Mark, Pastor Mark, I got terribly sick. My whole job bust. Oh yes, my whole job bust. There was no medication. I mean, it's just Yeah, sometimes when I say these things, and then they're going to say this. There was, I mean, I suffered from this thing. Nowhere to go to hospital. You would, my mom would, at that time, my mom would bring some things, rub the ear, rub the ear. It just took the grace of God for this thing to be here. They didn't bust from here to my mouth. Yeah, it bust into my mouth. But that was the life we're living in until we get to Ghana, like I said. And then in the process of time, Bishop Luke Jones came. We were having a conference, an American from America having a conference. And we all went there. Like I said in the beginning, going to that conference was not even to go and listen to the word of God. It may appear to be we go for the word of God, but everybody was looking for what to eat. I had to survive. Oh yes, I had to survive. So we all, what about 100 of us went there, and then and when you go for the kind of conferences, they feed you there. So we eat, when we went to the conference, we eat in the morning, we take lunch, and then they preach to us. But mind you, at the end of the day, you are asking yourself, God, I hope this American man will even favor me, that kind of thing. And then we were there. After when Bishop Jones went back, everybody started writing. And so at the time, it was a normal thing. Everybody started writing. This will write, oh, Bishop, I was at a conference. Can you please help me with rent? This will write, oh, Bishop, I was at a conference. Can you please buy an instrument for our church? Oh, Bishop, I was at a conference. My family man said there's no food to eat. You have, if I added 100, you have about 75 persons writing for no food to eat. So Bishop Lord John wrote back to me. He said, Tailey, a lot of people wrote me. But you were the only one that I saw that mentioned that you want to go to school. I said, yeah, Bishop, I want to go to school. He said, can you find a school in Ghana to attend? So I started finding school in Ghana. But the schools in Ghana, like I said, they are very expensive at the time. Even now, very expensive. They only have, at the time, Ghanaian students. They had two status in school. In Ghana, they had Ghanaian students. Then they have foreign students. In the foreign category, whether you are a refugee or you are an American or you are from where you're all in the foreign category. And that would be almost like 5, 6 to 7,000 for academic year. So when I look at the fees in Ghana, I told myself, I said, wow. I said, if I tell Bishop Lou Jones that for university I charge him 7,000 as a foreign student, definitely I'm lost in that sponsorship. But I don't think that Bishop Lou Jones will pay me school for 7,000. So I will go to Nigeria because at that time I've heard about Nigeria already. That in Nigeria, the schools there, they were like refugees were like charged as Nigerian students, and it's almost like nothing. The refugees were not in the category of foreign students. So I had a lobby and went to Nigeria. Like I said, when I got to Nigeria the night, I didn't know anybody in Nigeria. Nobody sent for me in Nigeria. But Pastor Mark, I've already gotten used to being by myself. So it wasn't a strange thing. I already been during the war. I ran to Africans, worked for people, went came back again, go back. So living by myself, it was not anything fearful. I could go to any country where I know anybody there. That's how I've been living. So I went to Nigeria and got Nigeria that night. I never knew anybody. And I slept on the street. Early in the morning I woke up. The first thing is Nigeria, Lagos was so terrible. But I don't have anything. So what should I be afraid of? If I get to Lagos and I have something, I'll be afraid that somebody will rob me. But what do I have to rob me of? And so and so I slept on the road. Nobody disturbed me. In the morning I wake up and then I ask those I met down the street. I said, "Do they have a church around here?" Then the guy said, "There's a church called Wonder Chapel where you have a lot of Liberians in that church." So I said, "Okay, why is the church?" The director of the prison I went there. Truly, when I went there, I met my fellow Liberians there. And then and they hosted me to the church compound. And then I started asking for schools. And definitely, one of the schools I went to the church, the entire school year at a time, that was 2000 now. That was 2002, 3, yeah. The entire school year at that time, it was not more than $45 to $30 years. Oh, yes. for university. Yeah. Because Nigeria, in the public university in Nigeria, they almost like they don't pay. And we refugees, they were also taking us in that same category. But in Ghana, they don't have refugee category. They like foreign Ghanaian. If you're not a Ghanaian, you are foreign. But in Nigeria, they have foreign, Nigerian, and refugee. And the refugee were even more lesser than anything. So when I went to the entire school years, it was around, I think, like I said, like, equivalent was around 35 to 40, 45 equivalent. The hostess for the whole school year was not even more than $25 or $30. So when I combine everything, it was around $90 to 90 to 100. So right away, I wrote Bishop Luke Jones. I said, I found a school. And my living on campus, plus my school fees, everything will not be more than $100. And they just said, really? Yes. And then right away, sent the money. And I started school in Nigeria. So the help Bishop Luke Jones sponsored me all through in Nigeria till I graduated. Till I got a first degree in accounting. Then I went to the University of Lagos and did a master's in finance. I did 2 masters when I was in Nigeria. One in finance, one in organizational behavior.
So when do you leave Nigeria?
I left Nigeria 2010 December, almost 2011. So when I graduated in Nigeria, there's a part of the story I did not mention. When I graduated in Nigeria, no, between the time I went to school in Nigeria, when I got to Nigeria, when I went to that church, I was also working at a university there. At the time, they were constructing the university. So we were the laborers that used to give bricks to the engineers while being at university. So I was also living on that also when I got to Nigeria.
Are you getting paid for that?
Yeah, well, people daily. With the daily hire.
Okay.
Yeah, something. I don't think it's up to $1 US.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I will pay for that. So when I got to Nigeria, between the time I was looking for school, I was doing that way. All right. That is where I learned in Nigerian language when they say oh yeah, it means fast, fast, fast. So I have a friend, the two are working there today. The people call I will say oh yeah, mean fast, fast. So when we take the breaks, you can say fast, 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 fast. So we're doing that, to survive while I was looking for school till I get contact with Bishop Luke Jones that I have a school. And I have Bishop Luke Jones sponsor me all through in Nigeria while I was going to school. When I graduated from school, the first degree, then I came back to that university where I was working as a laborer. I came back to that university and I became an accountant in that university. Yes, that was a really success story.
So you became an accountant in that university in Ghana?
No, in Nigeria.
In Nigeria.
Yes. The university where I was holding bricks.
Ah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
When I left from Ghana to Nigeria to that church, it's a church university. So I was helping holding bricks at that university. Helping bricks to do the construction. So when I left from there and I went to school, when I graduated, I came back. Then that university employed me there as an accountant. Yes. So I was there as an accountant at the same time doing my master's at NILA. At that point, life was almost changing. Because I was working there, I was being paid as a professional there at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And really, education is what's changing things.
Yes.
But also, it's not just the education.
Yes.
It is the personal drive
that
you have to try and do something.
Yes.
So, as we are in this country right now, I see people with personal drive, like yourself. But I see other people just sitting alongside of the street that appear to have no ambition and just want somebody to give them something. But what's the difference? What's the difference in you that caused you to keep pushing forward? Because you could have stayed sitting beside the road begging for food. But what was it within you that caused you to want to move forward and change things?
So, Pastor Mark, if I look at my story, especially the tough time I go through, if I look at one thing God has helped me with in the process, I could say probably destiny. Because at a certain point in time, I have this, let me say mindset that I have to contribute to the country. It is something that deeply in all my struggles, that even my friends who are Muslims together know, that I have the mindset that, look, with this situation we have in this country, if people like us do not rise up, if people do not rise up, life will just remain the same like this for a lot of people. Then in fact, when I just think about just one person who met me and changed my life, that too was a very serious motivation. Was it up to now? I say, if Bishop Luke Jones can just change my life, then I need to become Bishop Luke Jones to a lot of people. Oh yes. It's something that every time I sit down, I will think about that. I say, Bishop Luke Jones can invest in one person, then it is important that I also invest, because I can't pay Bishop Luke Jones back. I can't pay him back. Let's say he's dead now. His children do not need anything from me. But the only way that I can keep the legacy, I can keep the memory, I can keep everything, is when I continue to give back. So every time I see myself giving, So every time I see myself giving back, it takes my mind back to the time I went through, how I met a stranger who was able to come into my life and change things. In fact, if I even stay on the campus, if I stay on the campus and I see children and I see how people struggle, it still take my mind back. It's like it's a brand new reflection. Sometimes, like the other day when we went to the children's houses, John, and you see people like fetching water, struggling, don't carry anything to eat. They will take the man back. And when you see young people life becoming better because of your involvement, then they take your life back. How Bishop Luke Jones actually changed my life. Sometimes I ask myself, if God has not made me to meet Bishop Luke Jones, I don't know my life well before today. And I want to be that Luke Jones to like my people. Sorry. And sometimes when I say this thing, it just did impact here. I didn't explain how I met Agnes in the process. So I met Agnes when Agnes came to the university where I graduated from. So we were the graduating seniors, Liberian graduating senior who could do the orientation for new students.
Yeah, okay.
So it was doing the new student orientation that when I saw Agnes, and up to today I'm still doing orientation. Yeah.
And so you met her at the university?
Yeah. When we went, then I was already graduating, she was just entering. So I was actually supposed to be mentoring her there, let's say, and how we got connected and we got married in Nigeria.
You got married in Nigeria?
Yeah, we got married in Nigeria and we came back to Liberia together.
You worked for the American Embassy, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I was with the American Embassy, Agnes was at the bank, and then the money we were making, we started sponsoring children into schools. Because the goal is that if Mr. Luke Jones could sponsor me, then whatever I will have, it has to go into other people. So that actually been the motivation. Everything I had that thought, one man, one American, could you decide to invest into me? So I also have to give to my people. All right. So because Bishop Lou Jones, when I had the opportunity to come to Liberia and invest in everybody, well, he was only investing in the one Liberian. And that Liberians me, I must be able to also invest into other Liberians. So there were a lot of children in the community that was not going to school. So Edgar myself began to follow up on them. So actually we funded this what we call the Faith Children Welfare Foundation. If you look on Facebook, you'll see it. It's called the Faith Children Welfare Foundation. So at that time, it was just about sponsoring children. So when I get my money, I didn't get our money. We'll join together and then we'll go to children who do not have, some don't have parents, some have parents, but they couldn't afford. They were just in the community who set up the school. We started with few children. So in the process of that, the foundation, the Faith Children Foundation started to grow. A lot of children started coming. At that time, it was beyond our capacity to sponsor them into schools. So we said, look, why can't we start a school? Because we can't sponsor all these children to schools. We know their school fees are getting much. And we may not continue working all the time. So why can't we sponsor a lot of calendar? All right, at that time, I think Edna was pregnant and then she resigned. She resigned from her office because she was pregnant. And then she started focusing on the children. So we started with 5 children in the school. Right? Then the school started growing. And that's where we are today.
So walk us through this founding of this school, because I want people to understand that it wasn't just like, okay, we have some students, now we have some more students, and everything is great. It's been easy. And people think school, they think, oh, you have buildings, you have those. You don't have any of that.
No, I don't think. So what we did first was when we started the school, it used to be in town here. Was about 5 children for the first year. All right. Then it was my salary was using to pay teachers. Because I was still at the U.S. Embassy. So every time I get my monthly salary, I would make sure I move that portion for the teachers. It was better than paying each of the children's school fees. Then when Ebola came, the need, now that's what led us to where we are there. Because during the Ebola impacted more people on that side because they were bringing the body close to them. So a lot of people on that side became victims.
Yeah, so this is another story about Liberia. You have these 2 civil wars.
Yes.
Now you have an Ebola crisis.
Yes.
What year was that?
Ebola was 2013, 14. Yeah.
And you have thousands of people dying.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people died from Ebola.
And people aren't really sure if they're going to live. They're going to catch it.
Yes. So
there's a lot of fear.
There was a lot of fear. So the first message that came in was, don't touch. That was the first message. That message killed a lot of people. Because the preventive measure wasn't taught. The first message, don't touch. So you see somebody there dying, instead of you put on a glove and wearing some stuff to rush a person to the hospital, then the person is there dying. Because the message, don't touch. So Ebola killed a lot of people, especially on that side where we went to. So it was the Ebola that really led us on that side. We saw that there was a need greater on that side. Because a lot of children there, they were victims, they weren't going to school, and that is how we put the pantage down. I need to send that photo. I think I need to send that photo to you. The pantage photo. We put the pantage down, and then we started having classes under that. Students used to sit on the ground. There was no floor on the ground, so you just sit on the ground. In that process, I went to the U.S., and I went to the church. I went to the church and I discussed with you concerning what we're doing here. And you contributed, I think, about 5,000. But that 5,000 was the first seed we ever got. Came back home with that 5,000 and started the foundation, buying bricks, buying cement, buying sand, posting on Facebook that how we have to get some support coming in. What we add to that.
And so when you came back from Nigeria,
Yeah.
you also started a church.
Yeah. Yeah. I started a church. We came back from Nigeria 2010 December. So we started a church 2011. And the reason we began the church, God was calling to the ministry, one. Secondly, a lot of people in our community were not going to church. Like I said, Liberia is just a religious country. But a lot of people still don't go to church. So we started talking to them, for a prayer meeting. After the prayer meeting, we're not having Sunday services. After the prayer meeting, they will notice that Sundays, they will go back and sit down home. Mm-hmm. You even direct them to a church, they will go to the church, and sometimes they will still sit down home. So we'll run the prayer meeting from January 2011, February, March, April, May, June. We started to trust God, and God gave us the direction to start a church. So the first settle we had was in our living room. The house we were renting now at the time. Then I was staying with the U.S. Embassy. We were renting the house. So we started the church in the living room of the house. And the church began to grow gradually. But mainly it's on the foundational prayers. Yeah, on the foundational prayer. Mainly. We do a lot of prayers in the other thing.
And the school now has 800 students.
Oh, yeah. 800 students. The school has 800 students. The college students should be around 300. Yeah.
With multiple buildings.
So multiple buildings, yes.
They didn't have anything when you started.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So when you walk into school now, knowing what you've been through, starting with 5 students, 800 students now, what kind of emotion, what kind of feeling do you have when you walk in there every day?
Honestly, I'm very grateful every time I go on the campus. Every time I go on the campus, I feel really, really grateful. Especially, I see my history in them. I see how I was impacted by an American, Mr. Luke Jones. And today, by the grace of God, we could also impact hundreds of them. Every time I see that, then it brings me also to the realization that all things work together for our good. Yeah. Who knows if I never had that story, if I never had that encounter, if my path had not gone that way, I may not have arrived at this point. So if I said that today, I definitely do not regret everything that happened. I see that it's happening for His glory. And when I see the children and I think back, I just give glory to God. Yeah. Imagine, Pastor Matt, you have people in the school, came to the school broken, rejected, and now they are graduated. They are able to be responsible. They are in college. They are happy. We see that. It's so excited. It's very excited. No, 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
What about the future? You're beginning a university.
Yeah. Yeah, we, sometimes when I talk about the future, I think I say, where will you rest? But actually, the building you saw there on the other side, right there, the plan in the future is we are going to elevate that building. Yes. When we elevate that building, then we are going to have a little demarcation because it's not too comfortable for the Lalakim and the university students to be moving together. So we have that in the future. So we are done with the current nursing project. We have it working. In the future, we're going to elevate that building and then have a little demarcation. The Lalakim students can just have separate. They use the other gate there. Guys will use the other gate there. Yeah.
And the students that are currently there and the ones that are going to be graduating, though that's a nursing program, is that right? And it's your school, just so people listening understand, is fully accredited by the Liberian government.
Yeah. It's our school had 3 accreditation. We are accredited by the Liberian government, Ministry of Education. We are accredited by the National Commission Higher Education. The National Commission on Higher Education is responsible for university. The Ministry of Education is responsible for high school. We are also accredited by the Liberian Medical Board for laboratory science. They are responsible for medical lab. So as soon as the nursing construction is done, then we are going to seek accreditation for nursing. Yeah. But all the programs we are running now are all accredited by the government. Oh, there.
If you could say something to someone watching, they're struggling. They maybe have a bad family situation. I know very few people that have struggled like you have. What would you say to them? And how would you encourage them to move beyond where they are at?
Well, like to say, for anybody is struggling, in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. The Bible says, unto him that is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we can ask and take. You see, sometimes the way God works, that was something I hear people say that if you are Christians, that you will not struggle. That is really not true. Because God actually uses our struggle to His glory. Look, God is just different. No matter how we study God, we can't understand His ways. God will want to bring His glory in this place. And that glory must just begin with you suffering. And that suffering at the end will be to His glory. Now, even if you died in that struggle, you could die in that struggle, and God will be glorified even in your death. And you have not lost anything because you will be happy in heaven. So whether we live is the good of the people we minister to. When we died, it's at our good. I normally say people, I said the least thing I will ever be afraid of is death. Because if I died, I do not lose my die. So when we are going through any struggle, we have to understand that God has the master plan. And we must subject our will, ourselves to His master plan. And sometimes we may not understand the master plan. But yes, because His ways are higher than our ways. In the process of what we go through, we must always know that there's a Father who loves us. And he does this in different ways. We should surround ourselves in the period of struggling, we should surround ourselves with believers. Because see, in the case of Job friends mock at him. And we must surround ourselves with believers. We must always be in God's presence. Because the level of joy and peace that comes with the presence of God is unexplainable. Pastor Mike, sometimes when you just sit down and you worship, sometimes you're suffering and look, you're not suffering. Yes, and I worship. Song like, worship song like this, not my end. There's no power of hell. There's no pluck of man. There's no there's no power of hell that can pluck me out. There's no scheme of man that can pluck me out of His hand. Sometimes when you just worship with these kind of songs, and then your mentality, your perception of a life shift. And sometimes when you come outside, it's like you are on top of the world. even if you are suffering, you are walking without car. You are walking. There's no car. There's no food to eat, and then you see yourself like you are on top of the world because of that inner richness inside of you. And then what every believer need to crave for. The inner witness, the Holy Spirit inside of you. You know? I can tell you, Pastor Mark, that has been in all the times we have gone through. Pastor Mark, for us, for any myself to be discouraged, it's very tough. It's very, very, very tough. I remember when Agnes was pregnant, when she was pregnant with our other daughter, Praise. And that is why we named her Praise. Pastor Mark, it was very clear. The enemy spoke clearly that my wife will not deliver. That enemy will not survive the pregnancy. All through that year, we're just praising God. Every time I go to work, lift her eyes. Our church member know the story. We're just praising God. And she delivered safely. So we should learn to get ourselves close to Him. We should believe in, just like, look, Pastor, imagine we can trust a pilot with our life. You can get in the plane. You can enter a plane and trust a pilot with your life. The pilot can take the plane and you are okay in the plane. You are sitting down comfortable in the plane, knowing that the pilot is a professional, knowing that the pilot will land you to your destination. How much more about God? How much more? So when we trust God in the process, no matter what, we trust in the process. That look, if I knock this door and it doesn't open, I trust God know why it didn't open. If I make a request and it doesn't work, I know God know why it didn't work. He has the master plan. For the matter of fact, I'm not working for myself, I'm working for Him. Oh yes. So we see our life like that our existing on the earth is for Him. And the oppositions, the opponents, the devil is trying to get us off, and we know the one we serve is bigger, is greater, He knows we're going through. Then we trust ourselves in Him. We just rest in Him. Sometimes you get who? Actually know very well how we work with these things. Sometimes you get who and like it appears like, how will this thing work tomorrow? You tell yourself, say, let's trust God. Because we know working for ourselves. Yes, yeah.
This has been an amazing story, Silly. Thank you for sharing with us today. I want to thank those of you listening to Culture Shift today. Make sure that you share this, because this story can represent the stories of many different people. Thank you for being here today, and we will see you next time.